love it. I love it. I love it. Look at this. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Hey, I'm not surprised.
What's up, guys? Leighton here for UFC Gambling Addicts. So the channel's been running for 10 months and I wanted to bring a new series to the channel. We've basically predicted every single fight for the last 10 months and we're not going to stop doing the prediction videos. But the channel is called UFC Gambling Addicts. Now, like I said, we've predicted every fight since the channel's been running. But as far as gambling goes, we don't really fulfill that part of the channel too much. You know, I post bet wins, we predict the fights, we're always going to do that. But there's a reason we don't really cover the gambling too much. Now, the first reason is, like Brooks always says, who is my co-host, he says, I'm no expert in gambling, I'm no expert in making picks. We both love the sport and that's why we do this. Now, I'm a strong believer that he is right in that opinion. I'm a firm believer that if you're not in the octagon, you have an opinion and an opinion only, and no one's opinion is worth money. So I'm a strong believer in that. So that's why I don't really go into the gambling side of things and, you know, tell people what to gamble on. And, you know, I don't really go off on people in the comments if you disagree with me. You know, I'm a firm believer in if you're not in the octagon, you have an opinion, and that's it pretty much. So, you know, I don't exactly want to tell people what to gamble on, but I want to bring a new series to the channel like every Thursday or Friday maybe. And I want to call it insight. You know, I'm not exactly telling you what to do. I'm just giving you an insight into my opinion for Saturday, because I'm a big gambler myself. Like I said, I post the bet wins, and I'm just going to give you an insight into what I'm feeling for this Saturday, and maybe every other Saturday if the series does well. So how I want to run this series is I want to make 3 picks. I want to give you the first pick being an underdog. The second pick, I want to call that the parlay builder. And the third pick, I want to give you my most confident pick. And before I start all this, I want to say one thing. The only predictable thing about MMA is it's unpredictable. Okay, so let's jump into this. We'll start with the first pick, and you know, with any, you can call it a betting guide if you want. It's not really that; it's more of an insight thing. But every guide, you know, you have to start or at least mention at one point an underdog. You know, so we're looking at the underdogs here. And by the way, Brooks isn't with me for episode 1 here. Hopefully, at some point he joins in, but you've got just the English guy for now. So I'm looking at the odds. We've got Livia Souza plus 100s, plus 105, plus 113 at Sportsbet. We've got Jonathan Martinez plus 120, Nico Montana plus 150, Andre Feely plus 105, John Allen plus 300, Cesar Ferreira plus 120, Wellington Turman plus 150, Josh Emmett 138, Elkins 100, Uriah Faber plus 210, and Jermaine Durandame plus 130. So, you know, I'm going to say it again. If you're not in the octagon, you have an opinion, and that's it. No one's opinion is worth money. So anyone can take any dog here, you know, and any of them can come in. This is MMA. Anything can happen. But I'm going to give you one name. I'm going to give you my favorite dog for this Saturday. And you know, I'm torn between 2. In all honesty, Andre Feely is, you know, one of my favorite underdogs, and Livia Souza. I'm torn between these 2. But if I had to make a pick, if you put a gun to my head and said you need to pick an underdog for this Saturday, the name that would come out of my mouth is Livia Souza. Now, the reasons why are she has very, very, very good jiu-jitsu. You know, even in her fight against Sarah Frota, which was her last fight, Frota was so big, so much bigger, and she came in like 8 pounds overweight, and she was still able to strike with this girl. Split win, but like I said, the girl was so big, 8 pounds overweight, and she was able to get judo takedowns. She still threw up triangles, I believe, and the striking looked fine. You know, she didn't look like she was getting hurt at any point. You know, obviously Frota's a big girl, and if she tags you, you see the shot. But for the most part, I'm impressed with her striking. Um, Another reason why I'm gonna say this is my favorite underdog is Buran's making her debut, and you know, debuts don't always go the way we want them to go. Um, you can get nervous, you know, you've made it to the big time, and the debut isn't yourself, and then you have your second fight, and it's a great fight, or sometimes the debute's great, but you know, this is a tough debut, a real tough debut. Um, and if I was forced to pick an underdog that I'm really liking on this card, I'm kind of a little bit surprised Livia Souza is dog odds. You know, to say she's fighting a girl who is coming over, making her debut. You know, granted she is an Invicta champion, but it's a really tough debut. And also another thing to mention, women's MMA is very crazy. Anything can happen. And to say we're getting dog odds on Livia Souza here, you know, it's not big dog odds, but I'll take it. So yeah, my underdog pick, and the first part of the Insight episode is going to be dedicated to Livia Souza. That's my favourite underdog. That's what I'm taking. Okay, so moving on. Let me just spark up. So moving on to pick number 2. That's going to be the parlay builder. So a parlay builder would be someone you're very confident in, but their price isn't too big where you can use them in, say, more than 2 parlays, right? Uh, the guy who I'm going to pick for that would be, you know, like I said, it has to be someone you're very confident in. You know, don't even look at price for now. Just think of someone you're very confident in, and you want to build your parlays around. So the person I'm thinking for that would be Ricky Simone. And the reason why it's definitely Ricky Simone for me is, for some reason, in the UK, he's still a minus 278. I have no clue why. I can only assume, like, the UK don't know about him. So my parlay builder would be Ricky Simone. And like I said, the reason for that is, in the UK, he's a minus 278. And we watch the UFC, like, at 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. So obviously not a lot of people know who this guy is. I'm looking across the American lines for him now, and across America, minus 358, 355, 350, 340, 360, 370. You know, it's getting close to minus 400. So if you're in the UK right now and you're picking Ricky Simone this weekend, I would put him in at least 3 parlays minimum. If you're American, you know, if I was American, it's hard to decide who I'd build my parlays around. It's a difficult one. I risk it a lot when I bet. You know, I'm not a safe better. I would actually look at Juliana Pena's price. You know, in America, the best price you could get for her is minus 172, minus 180. It's mainly minus 180 in America. That's a pretty decent price. I'm pretty confident that she can have a good performance. If you forced me to pick someone else, maybe Marvin Vettori, but I have heard quite a few respected people in the betting game, you know, favouring Cesar Ferreira round 1 sub. So, you know, once again, it comes down to personal preference and what you believe. You know, your belief, your individual belief is the only thing you should go with. I'm only bringing insight here. Like I said, my parlay builder is going to be Ricky Simone. The price in America is a little high. If I was forced to give another one, Juliana Pena or Marvin Vettori would be my parlay builders. And like I said, parlay builders are someone you can take with a decent price that you're confident in, that you can take, you know, multiple times to give yourself more chance of winning these parlays. Now, it does come with risk. If you bet, say, Ricky Simone in 3 or 4 parlays and they all look good, and if Ricky does lose, then there's 4 parlays all gone, and you know you loaded him up with one guy. But if it goes well and Ricky Simone wins them all because you're that confident that he's going to win them all and you like the price and you're willing to take the risk, you know, the other two that you add are just going to be, you know, it can look really good at one point in the night when all your other bets are coming in before your parlay builder, and then when your parlay builder does come in, you know, the bets just flow in. So yeah, that's pick number 2, the parlay builder sorted. Now pick number 3, that's going to be my most confident pick on the night. And sometimes your most confident pick on the night can be your parlay builder. Very rarely is your most confident pick an underdog. So my most confident pick on this card would be, it's going to have to be Mike Rodriguez. Like, I know the odds are saying that as well, and sometimes those, you know, your most confident pick isn't going to be the guy with the best odds. Like, for example, Nordiv was minus 500, and that's pretty insane. Like I said on that breakdown on that card, I'm not going anywhere near that line. I didn't touch that line. I know some people did touch that line. And I was someone who took him in his debut at plus 360. And I can tell you for sure, there was at least minus 300 worth of people that lost money on that guy on his debut, that tried to win money back in his second fight, and for some reason he ended up being a minus 500 against a guy who is a much tougher fight at 170 than Michel Praceres. And most people would hear that and go, you're crazy, you're crazy. But just look at frame, look at size, and look at conditioning. Michel Praceres didn't have height, reach, or conditioning. Now, a veteran of the sport, yes, but sometimes being a vet doesn't get you the win against a young, hungry kid like Nordiv. Now, he had a great debut at plus 360, and for some reason, the vast majority have massively overpriced him at minus 5. He shouldn't have been any more than minus 2 in that second fight. But here we have Mike Rodriguez at minus 400, and I think the price is legit. Like, he is such a good striker. He's so powerful. And in his debut, I was very surprised that Devin Clark was able to grapple him and spoil the debut. And that goes back to my point with Buran. Like, some debuts, you get a debut and it's like, oh, that's a decent debut, and you don't perform well. So when I see someone has a debut and it's a tough debut, you know, you've been thrown into the deep end, and that goes back again why Livia Souza is my favourite dog pick of the night. But Mike Rodriguez, he's my favourite pick. The whole card, if you put a gun to my head and said pick one person on this card that's going to win, the name that would come out is Mike Rodriguez. So yeah, we've gone through underdogs, Andre Fili and Livia Souza. If I had to pick one, I'd pick Souza. Parlay builders, Ricky Simone has a really good price in the UK if you can get that after listening to this. If you're American, if you're looking for a price nice to build around, Juliana Pena or Vittori. And if you're asking me, my most confident, Mike Rodriguez. Okay, guys, so I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm going to try bring it out every Thursday. Like I said, it's just insight. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just giving you my opinion and an accurate understanding of what I feel I'm going to do on this card. Okay? Appreciate you guys. Peace.